Most of us picture the inside of a cell the way it's drawn on a high school biology poster. It looks like a neatly organized microscopic factory. The nucleus sits in the middle like a manager's office. The mitochondria and the Golgi apparatus have their own clearly defined boundaries. Everything is kept perfectly separated by thick, protective walls. The logic behind that factory model makes sense, because the alternative is chaos. In this density, the odds of two specific molecules randomly colliding to trigger a reaction are incredibly low. Without a way to concentrate the right parts, the internal traffic of the cell would effectively stop essential chemistry from ever happening. Faced with that mathematical chaos, early cell biologists assumed life had only one option. To keep complex reactions from failing, the cell had to construct physical membranes to separate and protect its functions. But treating the cytoplasm like a passive soup filled with tiny plastic parts leaves out a massive piece of how living systems actually operate. Deep inside the cell, some of the largest, most complex hubs of biological activity operate completely out in the open. They process RNA and manage chemical stress without a single membrane, wall, or physical border protecting them. Biologists call these wall-less rooms cellular condensates. They aren't permanent structures. They are spontaneous, incredibly dense gatherings of molecules that assemble on demand. Instead of constructing a physical barrier to keep certain molecules together, the cell simply changes the local rules of motion. It creates a highly organized boundary using pure behavior. Condensates prove that the cell doesn't always need to build a permanent structure to create order. It can organize chemistry entirely through molecular movement. To understand how a cell pulls this off, we have to look at the physics of phase separation. This is the exact same mechanical process that happens when you shake a bottle of oil and water. They mix briefly, but very quickly, the physical interactions between the molecules force them to sort out into two separate, distinct zones. Long before biologists mapped out cellular condensates, physical chemists were studying this behavior in polymers. Flory-Huggins theory outlines a constant mathematical fight happening in mixed systems. Random mixing pushes molecules apart, while specific chemical attractions pull them together. In a cell, when an environmental trigger, like a spike in concentration or a change in salt levels, causes the pull of molecular attraction to overpower the chaos of mixing, a threshold is crossed. A dense droplet of proteins immediately drops out of the surrounding fluid. The cell doesn't assemble these spaces brick by brick. By forcing the local environment across a physical threshold, a specialized workspace is instantly summoned into existence. This creates a mechanical paradox. Once these molecules drop out of the fluid and clump together, what keeps that dense droplet from freezing into a solid, useless block of biological glue? The secret lies in something called intrinsically disordered regions, or IDRs. These are long, flexible tails on proteins that refuse to fold into a single, rigid shape. They act like wet molecular ropes, constantly shifting around in the fluid. Traditional proteins often bind together in a rigid lock-and-key formation. IDRs do the exact opposite. Because they are unstructured, they hold the droplet together using thousands of weak, temporary handshakes. They grab on, release, entangle, and restick over and over. This reliance on weak, constant agreements keeps the molecules securely together without trapping them. The room remains functionally dynamic instead of becoming structurally paralyzed. Because of that rapid movement, a condensate might look like a random biological junk pile, but these droplets are actually highly regulated selective workspaces. The exact selectivity of the room is dictated by a chemical metric known as the partition coefficient. This is effectively a mathematical guest list that measures how strongly a specific molecule prefers the inside environment of the condensate compared to the fluid outside of it. If a molecule's behavioral rhythm and chemical charge match the inside of the droplet, it effortlessly crosses the threshold and gets to work. If a molecule is incompatible, it will physically bounce off the invisible boundary and remain in the larger cell. The cell uses this pop-up filtering system for some of its most critical jobs. The nucleolus uses it to manufacture ribosomes. During emergencies, the cell spins up stress granules, temporary condensate shelters that safely lock away vital RNA instructions until the crisis passes. Condensates act as biological triage. Whenever and wherever the cell needs specialized anatomy to survive, it can selectively summon a crowd, finish the work, and let the room dissolve back into the chaos. Moving away from pure biology and into soft matter physics reveals exactly how precarious the system is. For a condensate to survive and function, it has to maintain a perfectly tuned material state. The structure walks a physical tightrope. It must generate enough internal attraction to pull specialized molecules out of the chaotic soup, but it must retain enough fluidity to let those same molecules flow, react, and eventually leave the droplet. If the environment shifts slightly, or if the molecular attraction becomes too strong, the fluid droplet risks hardening into an immovable gel. The entire existence of a condensate is a controlled, almost failure. It is a biological trick where molecules are encouraged to gather, but strictly forbidden from dying into stone. When that phase control eventually fails, reversibility is permanently lost. The temporary workspace stiffens, and the molecules become physically trapped. This chart shows the material spectrum of these condensates, moving from dispersed molecules on the left to a healthy liquid phase in the middle, straight into a pathological solid on the right. When flexible condensates mature into these rigid, highly ordered structures known as amyloid fibrils, it often triggers the onset of severe neurodegenerative diseases. The soft, perfectly timed biological pop-up shop degrades into a condemned building that the cell can no longer demolish. It stops acting like a living crowd and starts acting like trapped debris. This shift from a dynamic gathering to a fixed aggregate reveals that cellular survival depends entirely on keeping these internal materials adjustable. Life is not a static machine built from permanent, inflexible parts. It is dynamically maintained motion. Biological structure does not always require a wall to exist, and pathology begins the exact